Tenny Madis excited to make WTA 125 debut in PH Women's Open. Manila, rising Filipina tennis star Tenny Madis is relishing the opportunity to compete in her first-ever WTA 125 tournament later this month. Madis and Filipina ace Alex Ilo were granted wildcard slots in the inaugural Philippine Women's Open, since they are the top two ranked players from the Philippines. "I'm so very grateful for the wildcard. It's a great opportunity to compete in this higher level and gain valuable experience. So I see it as an invitation to do better, to do my best," she told the media on the sidelines of the Philippine Women's Open press conference in Pasay City on Tuesday. "It feels so special, to compete at home, and I'm very excited. Super excited kasi makalaban ko young higher level NA players," the 18-year-old added. Madis said she is training consistently with her team, the Philippine Tennis Academy, in preparation for the WTA 125 tournament. "I've been training consistently with my team, the Philippine Tennis Academy, with Coach Bobby Angelo, and my teammates as well. Yes, it's very intensive training and mag-improve young muscles," she shared. Madis had a stellar performance in 2025, winning the Gentry Open Women's Singles title and her first Philippine-Colombian Association (PCA) championship in October. The 18-year-old likewise clinched 2 bronzes, one in women's doubles and in the team event, at the 33rd Southeast Asian Games in Thailand held in December. "The lessons na mino ko is to do my best and have fun lang Palaja lang sinasabi ng Coach ko, si Coach Bobby, laban para sa bayan and gapang talaga para sa bayan," she said. Despite being up against high-ranked WTA players in the upcoming tournament, Madis said she is focused on doing her best and gaining valuable experience. "So, my goal is to compete well. And I just focus on to enjoy every match. And, to compete hard," she said. Madis said her inspirations are her team, her family, and the trailblazing Ila, whose participation in the tournament is still dependent on her campaign in the Australian Open. Filter Secretary General John Ray Chanko underscored the importance of tournaments like this for players like Madis. "When I first saw Tenny when she joined last year's ITF, after playing ITF and competing with other international players, the next time I saw her she was so much better," he said. "This is a big step for Philippine tennis, because once they experience playing with top-caliber players, it's different. You want to be better. When you experience their shots, then you know what to improve on." Malaking Bigay po ito, Chanko added. She believes having the country host its first-ever WTA 125 tournament will create a huge impact and inspire the Filipino tennis community. "It's a big impact for me and all the players sa tennis community sa Philippines. Since the WTA 125 is a big tournament, so lahat po siguro enjoy or excited sa upcoming tournament," she added. The Philippine Women's Open will run from January 26 to 31st at the Rizal Memorial Tennis Center in Manila. Tenny Madis, a new dawn at the PH Women's Open. The morning sun over Manila filtered softly through the clouds, casting a pale gold glow over the hard courts of the PH Women's Open. The city was already awake, jeepneys humming, vendors calling out, and somewhere between the rhythm of daily life and the echo of bouncing tennis balls, Tenny Madis took a deep breath. This was not just another tournament. This was her WTA 125 debut, and it felt like the beginning of something she had been quietly dreaming about for years. Tenny stood near the baseline, racket in hand, eyes fixed on the net as if it were a line between who she had been and who she was becoming. At 21, she was no stranger to competition. She had played on courts that cracked under the heat, traveled with a single backpack, and learned how to win matches without crowds cheering her name. But the PH Women's Open was different. The banners were bigger, the stakes were higher, and the future felt closer than ever. "I've imagined this moment so many times," Tenny would later say with a smile that revealed both excitement and disbelief. But imagining it and living it are two very different things. The road to the moment. Tenny's journey to the WTA 125 stage was not paved with shortcuts. It was shaped by early mornings, late nights, and the constant hum of discipline. As a junior player, she was known more for her determination than her ranking. Coaches admired her work ethic, how she stayed on court long after others had packed up, how she asked questions, how she listened. Losses, too, were her teachers. There were matches where she came so close she could taste victory, only to watch it slip away in a final set tiebreak. Instead of breaking her spirit, those moments sharpened it. Tenny learned patience. She learned how to breathe under pressure. She learned that tennis, like life, often rewards those who stay just a little longer. By the time she earned her spot in the PH Women's Open, she had already won something greater than ranking points, belief. A stage that changes everything. The WTA 125 level sits in a unique space in professional tennis. It is where rising stars announce themselves and seasoned players fight to reclaim momentum. For Tenny, it felt like stepping into a conversation she had been listening to from afar. Walking onto the court for her first official practice, she noticed the details, the clean lines of the court, the quiet intensity of other players warming up, the way every shot sounded sharper, heavier. This was tennis at a different frequency. Yet instead of intimidation, Tenny felt excitement bloom in her chest. "I belong here," she whispered to herself. The PH Women's Open, hosted in a country passionate about sport and community, welcomed her with warmth. Young fans watched from the stands, eyes wide, as if seeing their own dreams reflected in her movements. That connection mattered to Tenny. She knew how powerful it was to see someone chase something big, and dare to believe it was possible. The match that marked her arrival. When match day arrived, Tenny tied her shoelaces slowly, deliberately. Nerves fluttered, but they did not control her. As she walked onto the court, the applause felt distant at first, like waves breaking far from shore. Then she bounced the ball, took her stance, and everything else disappeared. The first few games were tight. Long rallies tested her endurance and focus. Her opponent was experienced, confident, and unafraid to challenge her backhand. But Tenny responded with courage. She chased every ball, slid into shots, and trusted her instincts. Each point won felt like a small declaration. "I am here." There were mistakes, of course there were, but she did not let them linger. Instead, she adjusted, learned, and fought. Even when the match swung against her, she stood tall, refusing to let the moment overwhelm her. Win or lose, this was her debut. And debuts are not defined solely by results, but by presence. More than a tournament. Beyond the scoreboard, the PH Women's Open became a turning point. Media interviews, player lounges, and conversations with fellow competitors opened Tenny's eyes to the broader world of professional tennis. She realized that everyone here carried their own story, of sacrifice, doubt, resilience, and hope.